name is Jara. I teach people how to keep bees. In this video, I'm doing a unboxing, product assembly, and review of this beautiful honey extractor from Vevor. I've had my bees for 3 months, and I have to harvest every single frame out of the honey supers. That's 18 frames in total. So that's gonna take a lot of work, and I decided that manually processing each frame is gonna take me forever, so I really wanted to get a honey extractor to speed up the process. And it just so happens, while I was shopping around to purchase a honey extractor, Vevor, who is a really big company on Amazon, they sell gardening and home products, reached out to me and asked me if I'd be willing to do an honest review in exchange for a free honey extractor. So of course I said yes. I have purchased several products over the years from Vevor through their Amazon website, and I've always been happy with the quality and the price. I was already familiar with their company, and I'm very happy to be doing this review for them. This particular extractor is an electric extractor. I'm using these standard honey super frames in my bee boxes, so this extractor will fit 4 of them at one time. So in this video, I'm going to unbox this, show you how to assemble it, which was super easy, by the way. It literally took me like 5 minutes, and just discuss some of the features and the benefits of using an extractor over any kind of manual process. If you decide that you would like to purchase this same exact honey extractor, I will have links to Amazon below in the description. If you decide to make a purchase through my Amazon link, it will not cost you any more than if you went directly through Amazon. And I do get a little bit of a commission, which really helps to support this channel, so I really appreciate your support. Tomorrow I will be filming another video where I put this honey extractor to use. I'm going to be harvesting out all frames from 2 of my beehives. So if you would like to learn more about how to extract honey, how to identify when your frames are ready to be harvested, and watch me put this extractor to use, definitely go check that video out. I will link it in the description below. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna open up this box. The first thing that you're gonna find is this packet with all the screws and bolts, and then the honey gate that you have to attach to the body of the electric honey extractor. Next, you'll find the legs. I'm gonna go ahead and unwrap these. Next, we're gonna lift out the entire body of the honey extractor. It's not too heavy. Pretty easy for me to just lift out on my own. Next, I'm gonna take off the rest of the wrapping. This extractor is made out of stainless steel metal. It has a plug so that you can connect it and power it on with electricity. And it uses 110 volts or 140 watts of electricity. Inside, you'll find the 2 pieces for the clear lid. So I will have to attach this on with some of the screws that were in that plastic packet. Per the directions manual, you'll want to start assembly by attaching the legs first. And there are 3 legs. You'll notice that the bottom side of the legs is the side that has a flat piece here with a hole in it. This is so that you can screw in the bottom of the legs into a piece of plywood or something like that, or concrete, to stabilize this while you're using it and it's processing and spinning your frames. Align the legs with the screw holes on the outside of the extractor. And then you're going to take out the bigger size screws that came in the packet and use those to tighten on the legs onto the body of the extractor. I wanted to make sure that I assembled this before the day that I decide to harvest out all my frames of honey, just to test it out and make sure that everything works properly. All right, now that I have all 3 legs attached, I'm going to stand it up. So as you can see, it's a nice tall piece of equipment that will be very easy to work with. It's at a good height for it to be comfortable to slip in all the frames and take everything out. All right, so the next step is to install the honey gate. So when you start beekeeping, you'll notice that a lot of these supplies come with a honey gate specifically. I like these because they offer better control when you're trying to drip out the honey into bottles and things like that. So you can loosen it up to your liking and then, open up the gate. You could tie the screw tighter and that will keep this nice and shut and it won't allow any honey to flow out. Or you can loosen it up and then slowly open it just to allow, a controlled amount of honey out. To assemble this onto the honey extractor, we do need to remove this screw at the other side. Then you're going to place the front side of the honey gate into the hole. And then you're going to come through the inside of the barrel and screw this through the back side. Screw it on as tight as you can. This is kind of hard to do with one hand. So reach your hand through the body with the screw and put it on the other side of the honey gate. Screw it in nice and tight. All right, so the next step is to assemble the lids, and you'll want to remove the film, the plastic film that is on these lids first. For each of the clear plastic lids, you will need 6 of the smaller screws along with 6 of the smaller bolt nuts. To attach the lids, you're going to place the lids down, and the side that has this little knob here will go on the side of the motor here. Same thing on the other side, the knob here goes on the same side with the motor. You're going to place this metal bracket right here, right over the top of these lids, and match up the holes. Put one of these smaller screws in the hole, and then on the other side, you're going to screw in one of the nut bolts. These lids do have a safety feature. If this was on and spinning and someone came along and opened this up, it would release the plug, alerting the machine that it's open, and it would have an emergency stop. So I thought I was done, but then I noticed there was a whole bunch of washers left in here. So of course I'm like, all right, I missed something. These washers were supposed to go on before you screwed the bolts onto each leg. So let me just go ahead and fix that right now. Not a big deal. At least it's not one of those projects where you have to like take everything apart and start over because you missed a step. All right, all fixed. I'm so happy with how easy this was to put together, and I cannot wait to use this tomorrow when I process all of my frames. Now I want to talk about why I really wanted to have a honey extractor for tomorrow's honey harvest, and kind of the benefits of using an extractor over a more manual method. Here's what a standard honey frame looks like. So tomorrow I'll be extracting 18 of these that are full of comb on both sides with capped honey. So to kind of explain what capped honey means, your bees will start to build comb on top of these frames first. Here's a little piece of comb that fell off one of my frames. It's been outside for a while, so it's kind of dirty. But this is what the honeycomb looks like. As you can see, it's those little hexagonal cells, and the bees build this out of beeswax. So they will build comb on both sides of each honey frame. Once that comb is built, the forage bees will go out, look for nectar, bring that back into the hive, and deposit honey into one of these little hexagonal cells. So yes, basically bees will eat nectar. It's broken down with enzymes inside of their body, and they will regurgitate that back out into one of these cells. The bees will leave this open with that honey in there. I don't know how many days, but basically they're allowing the extra water inside of that honey to evaporate out. And typically once it's 18% or less of water, the bees know this and they'll go and seal the cells. Basically the honey inside is being sealed away for long-term storage. And to seal the cell, they will put a little thin layer of more beeswax. When deciding which frames are ready to be harvested, you'll want to pick the ones where they're about 85% or more capped of honey. I mean, you might always have, you know, a couple on the edges and stuff like that that are uncapped. They're still open, that water is still evaporating out, but you want the majority of them to be capped. So when you take your frame out, they're going to be all kind of capped or sealed up. You have to prop this up and use a knife or some other type of tool to kind of open up those cells. You have to uncap it, remove that beeswax capping that they have deposited to seal away those little cells. I just use a standard like beekeeping honey uncapping knife is what they're called, and I'll put in the description below any of the supplies that I'm mentioning. But it's like a big serrated knife, and you just slice right over your frame, and that will remove all of the beeswax capping along with some honey. It's always gonna, you know, mix a little bit together. But then you're left with a frame full of cells that are open. When I was manually, you know, extracting the honey, it's kind of hard. You know, you have to get this honey to flow out. The best way that I figured out how to do it was literally to take a spatula and scrape it all off. Then everything would fall into a double filter that I have, into a bowl or a bucket, and then it would be ready to be bottled. However, when you are scraping everything off, you are therefore removing all of this comb that your bees have worked so hard to build. I mean, that's okay. Just know that when you put your frames back into your beehives, it's going to take the bees a little bit longer to build up comb and then redeposit honey into them. The point that I'm trying to get to is the benefit of using an extractor is all you have to do is uncap. So you still have to do that step. You still have to take that knife and uncap everything, but you're left with comb with the honey still in there. But you stick the whole thing into the extractor And then through the motion of centrifugal force, it's going to knock all the honey out of the cells. Therefore, you get to preserve all of that comb on your frames. And it's awesome to be able to take a frame that already has comb built up on it and put that back into your beehives instead of brand new frames that have no comb built on them. Basically, you're just giving your bees a couple weeks of a head start because they don't have to go through the whole process of rebuilding comb on all of your frames. And not to mention, the biggest, most obvious reason why it's great to use an extractor is if you are harvesting a lot of frames at once. I mean, if you're just harvesting 1 or 2 frames here and there, it's no big deal. You could do the manual process and be done with it pretty quickly. But I'm about to harvest 18 frames. So it would take me a very long time to go through there and manually scrape off everything, filter it all out. So I was like, yeah, I better think about getting some kind of an extractor to help speed that up. Now I'm gonna go find some power and turn this thing on and see how it spins. All right, so let's turn it on and start her up slow. Nice. Let's go a little faster. I love how it has a clear lid so you can see what's going on in there. This goes really fast if I wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary. So when this spins, it knocks out all of the honey, which will go to the very bottom of the space where it collects. When enough of it has collected at the bottom, it will start to fill up and come out of the honey gate.